Okay, so I'm going to be showing you a Protoss build that has been getting a lot of attention lately because in Protoss vs Zerg this seems to be by far insanely good. So far Zerg have found nothing to counter it. Interesting enough to find out in the future if it's going to be an issue of we can't counter it or an issue of it's actually just too good and it's going to need the nerf bat. Anyways, this build is basically a 2-base colossi void ray build. Very simple stuff. Your opening is going to be pretty standard. Actually, I scout with that one. You want to do very standard opening, of course, and of course the little things you always want to do well on your build order. Practice that, bringing out that probe early for that 9th pylon. In reality, you want to be hotkeying that because most of your time you're not looking at your base. Most of your time you're going to be looking at other things because you can use your hotkeys while you're away from your base to continue producing probes, and this way you can sort of scout around and do all those fancy things. Of course, there are some times where you just got to make sure you're looking at your base so you don't accidentally do that silly thing where yeah, you just forget to build stuff on time. Anyways, 13th is going to pop out soon, so that means I'm going to bring this one down to build a gateway a little bit early. This doesn't have the sort of usual Blizzard style ramps, so I wouldn't really worry about how I'm placing my buildings right now. As you can see, I can control this while still producing. And of course I don't need... Whoa, that was the wrong thing to do. That's not good. Oh, gas should be going down anyways. There we go. Gas at 15. A little bit slow on that. I'm going to use 3 chrono boosts on my Nexus for now. I still haven't figured out sort of the optimal amount of chrono boost yet. Of course, next pylon going down at 16. And of course we can still be controlling this right now, but this is a point where you want to start doing a little more on your base just to make sure that you're not missing crucial things like this gas transfer. And of course cybernetics core, I'm late on that as I just was pointing out. So cybernetics core usually comes down at 17. And now I'm going to start saving my chrono boost now. So anyways, pretty standard though. I'm just going to keep building some units. And I really haven't perfected a build order for this yet. I've just been like winging it. And so far it's worked out okay. I like to get 2 gateways followed by, oops, that should be a gas now. You know, just throw down your gas at around whatever time feels about right. And then one thing with this build is you're actually going to be gas heavy for a little while. So I've been dealing with that by going heavy sentries. Oops. I don't have enough for that stargate yet. Oh, I want to build a pylon. That's what I wanted because I'm going to supply block myself. Anyways, that gas transfer, let's get you going. Oh! Yeah, could use a couple more of those. Oops, too many though. Okay, get that stargate down pretty early on. So yeah, really there's no real build order. I'm just flying by the seat of my pants. So, you know, this will look pretty rough. I haven't been using my chrono boost or anything. I've just been completely forgetting because I'm too busy talking to you guys. I love you all. But anyways, there, as you can see, should put another pylon down soon anyways. I basically do 2 gateways for a while and then transition into my 3rd gateway. I always find it's good to still get at least 1 stalker just because they are better at shooting air and they are faster than okay, that's done. Okay, not quite enough for a void ray yet. Still a little short on the gas. I like to get an early void ray. You know, I guess everyone each their own is sort of the other thing to say too though. So I'm just showing you a general build. I'm not showing you a build order. I want to be clear on that because this is not even close enough to being perfected to being a build order. Actually, I do have a little more minerals than I expected right now. Especially since I want to save up to get that robo bay in the near future. I don't get the robo bay too early. I just get 3 gateways in the stargate and I wait until I expand to get that robo. Of course, you're going to have to play a little... no, you don't really have to get robo early with against Zerg because this is really a PvZ matchup. So I like to get those void rays going early. Let's see, supplies looking good. Yep, so supplies still looking good. And now I'm going to start more probes again, using my chrono boost on those void rays, because I'm going to expand now. So of course, when you expand is really going to depend on what's happening in the game. As you can see, now my gas is starting to get a little high, now that I've finished all of that tech. So, you know, definitely you can get some sentries out. And the other thing I like to do too is I like to get this +1 air upgrade soon, because you're getting those void rays. So anyways, no. I forgot to set a rally point for that, and I forgot to hotkey it. So really, it's not actually as gas heavy. I'm not getting as much gas as I thought. When I was playing in the game, I was having too much gas, so obviously I was doing something else wrong in-game. And it's really laggy right now for some reason. I'm actually surprised how laggy it is. So anyways, basically what you're going to be doing with this build is you really just sit back on your 2 bases. You're really going to just defend your choke of your natural. You're just going to sort of defend, stand somewhere in between, stand at your choke, wherever, and it's really going to be defense play, is what the key thing is here. And whoa, that's not what I wanted. I want to bring out my robo bay now. As you can see, my expansion is just finishing. Didn't transfer any probes in time. Oh well. Put 3 on gas, and then, hey, no, you're going to mins, whatever. Okay, and I actually pulled too many from my main, so now I'm a little under in my main. And of course, you really want to balance how many units you build so you don't get killed early on. These void rays, I do like to get them out pretty fast, but it doesn't always work. It really depends what they're doing. If they're going zergling heavy, don't get as many void rays early on. But if they're going roach heavy, I would say they pay for themselves like gold, pretty much. Like, they really do pay for themselves. And of course, you can get that second gas whenever. Probably could have gotten a bit sooner. Getting low on supply, so of course got to build some of these. And I like to get out 1 or 2 observers, of course, as always, and get out that robo bay when you can, but don't rush to it. For me, so far I found that this build has worked quite well without rushing colossi, because really, you don't need the colossi until they get hydralisk out, and hydralisk will take them a while anyways. So, okay, robo bay can finally go down, so we're going to throw that down. I have 2 idle workers, which is 1 too many. So anyways, gas transfer. Gotta remember that. Okay, so there comes that, and I'll build a second one because my robo bay will still take a while to complete. And I really like chrono boosting out these void rays, especially if they've got a lot of roaches. So, you know, you really, once again, as always, you always want to play to what the opponent's sort of doing. And I probably should have done this a little bit earlier. I'll do it a bit later, but get a second stargate after that robo bay. You actually do want to build 2. You want to build out of 2 stargates. Just constantly produce void rays. Pressing the wrong key there. Supply's still looking good. You do want to constantly get those 2 void rays out of each. Okay, gonna need supply soon because colossi cost 6, so I'll throw down another one. And yeah, so now it's just sort of, you also want to watch, like, I don't have many gateway units mixed in here, so it really depends what they're going as to how many gateway units you want to mix in there. Really, you don't really need stalkers because these void rays are so good at killing corruptors. You really don't need to build stalkers at all. So, you know, just build some zealots or sentries, whatever you prefer to do. And of course, now building out of both of these, and get that thermal lance upgrade when you can afford it. And, you know, throw down your forge too. I haven't thrown down that. So, there we go. And now the colossi is starting to come out. And so, as you can see, it's been pretty much constant production of these void rays. More worried about the void rays than the colossi right now. Even though I really shouldn't have started that second one so soon, because then I couldn't do anything else. And I'm gonna get a colossi a little earlier, knowing that I'll have to skip a void ray. Not a huge deal, but you know, you do get, just play around with it a little bit, tweak with it. As I said, this is not even close to an official build order. This is just sort of what I've been doing and has been working. So I'm actually quite mineral heavy. let's check my gas. I just was making mistakes last game. That must have been what's happening, because no problems with gas this game. And of course, I like to get that +1 weapons for the colossi, makes them really dish out a lot of damage. I wouldn't worry too much about the armor upgrades, and you know, you can, if you know they're going to, well, it can be quite useful to get the armor for the air compared to the ground is what I find. I find that it can be a lot better on the ground, or on the air, the armor, for certain reasons. Being hydroless might tear them apart if they have a lot of hydras. Anyways, there's my other observer, should be placed somewhere to act like a scout. And as you can see, getting a healthy number of voids in there. And of course short on gas, but you really can do this on one base because you can just sit back and defend, and you really want to be careful though to lose colossi, because that's going to be, supply blocked. I wasn't paying attention. Oh well. Let's just build a whole bunch then. That was my mistake. And I'll get that air upgrade since I'm waiting then. For supply anyways. And whoop. There we go. Put someone on that mineral path. Don't have enough there. But as I was saying, you just sort of sit back. The big thing though is you really don't want to lose those claws. But you know, just have a decent number, but not a lot. Just throw in some gateway units, just sort of to distract the ground army while your void rays do their dirty work. You know, but these void rays, they're just they'll start to tear through things after a little bit. They definitely can get some very good DPS. Later in the game, if it becomes like a 25-minute game, or if it comes to the point where you need your third expansion, it's probably worth getting that fleet beacon to get the next levels. But I wouldn't really waste all that money on these. I would just get units instead of trying to get these level 2, because it's very expensive to get that fleet beacon. As we can see, 300, 200. I really don't suggest it. And as you can see, try and constantly put out. And of course, you can always use those chrono boosts. So always remember that, but always putting out. Did I just chrono that? Oh yeah, I was already chronoed. Okay. Damn it! I just wasted my chrono boot twice. Anyways, and the other thing to look at too is you want to max out at about 6 colossi. Basically, once you have 6 colossi, just stop building them and just only build them if they're dying, or if they're gonna die. So, you know, you just get this scary void ray army is basically what you do, with some colossi, of course, mixed in. What's going to happen is basically the colossi, you get 6 colossi, and that's pretty much going to own almost any ground forces that you throw at it. And of course, not even checking my supply again, too busy talking. Oh well, these are the things I do for you. It's a good thing I'm not playing an actual ladder game right now. As you know, most of them I do in the replay mode, and just make sure that I can actually do it properly without having these distractions. And void rays are actually pretty fast to build. Like, it still surprises me how fast they build. You know, so definitely, there we go. Yeah, oh, there we go. There's my little worker, building tons of pylons everywhere. Oh, isn't he so cute? Anyways, you can get shields if you want. Shields are decent against Zerg because they can't EMP you. But definitely, yeah, you're just looking to keep those void rays alive. The colossi should stay alive just because you have these zealots and a few ground army units in there to support them. So of course, you can see this base is starting to get, this is basically, once this base starts to get mined out, you've got that scary death ball army that's very strong. The only thing you really want to watch out for, in my opinion, is you do have to still be doing a bit of scouting. You have to be checking what the Zerg's doing, you know. So, because like, yeah, if they go like almost no ground units and go like 80% corruptors to try and counter all your void rays, well, start throwing in stalkers instead of zealots. Pretty easy. Otherwise, just have this, you know, just a few ground units. You know, you don't have to have sentries if you don't want to. Have some zealots. And then, you know, maybe a couple stalkers. Always safe to have a couple stalkers early game, so if you have them left over from then. But as we can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colossi, so this will be my 6th one, and that's sort of where you want to end it. So looking at supply, I'm actually really good now, because I basically have 200 worth of pylons. And yeah, so this is basically how the build works. You know, I don't have a perfect build order for you, sorry for that, but I haven't been practicing this. I just did 2 1v1 games and creamed my opponents, even though One of them he should have creamed me, the other one, well, he just got creamed. So yeah, these void rays, very underused units, can be still very powerful. Of course, using those chrono boosts, and you know, as you can see, getting really late in the game. Of course, could have been putting down some more zealots, but basically, if you're playing an actual match, that's what I would suggest doing, is use like 3, 4, 5 zealots, whatever. Just send out a few zealots at a time to scout around the map for the Zerg player, find any expansions, attack them with the zealots. You're gonna have extra minerals. It turns out, I don't know what I was doing wrong last game. Oh, it was the cannons, that's what I was doing wrong. Okay, now I remember. But basically, yeah, just to make sure that the Zerg player doesn't like completely go so macro that you are gonna lose, just throw out some zealots every now and again, like 4 or 5 zealots. Just send them around the map, have them attack any expansions if they try and do ones that are far from their main, and you just sort of build up until you have a scary death ball. You can push out at times, you just want to be careful when you're pushing out. Of course, making sure your main isn't a big enough army not to get owned by theirs. But these void rays, very, very powerful. As I said, once you get up to 6 colossi, you can just completely stop colossi production, because they just become so powerful once you get 5 or 6 together, that you really don't need more than 6. Yep, I don't think I have anything else to say. Of course, at this point, you should be grabbing your if you're not, if the game isn't, because you never want to give up any advantage you have. And yeah, hopefully you guys have fun using this. I feel sorry for all the Zerg players until they find a counter for this. But, you know, definitely if you're feeling that your Protoss versus Zerg is really lacking, definitely do this build. You get out a lot of early Void Rays. Void Rays is the main focus of this, with just doing 1 robo colossi to get those 6. And of course you can delay that robo because they won't have any invisible units, they don't have any cloaking units, so you don't need the observer early. And the colossi only really meant to deal with the hydras, really, and they can't get hydras for a while because they do have to tech up to is it lair, hive, I forget what it's called, but they do have to a little bit to get to hydras. They can't get them too early. But the void rays, really good against those roaches. Yeah, I wouldn't spend too much gas on stalkers. I'd be very careful how many stalkers you make, just because this build does become pretty gas heavy, as I thought it should. You know, you're pumping out void rays, you're pumping out colossi, you're getting tech, you're getting some upgrades, so definitely, you know. But the thing is, you know, you can technically sit back on 2 bases and just do nothing until you have a big death ball to win, but not if you're playing against a Zerg player who just decides, okay, if you're going to sit in your base, I'll take 5 expansions. So you do have to make sure you're doing a little bit of looking around the map, making sure that you're paying attention enough that he's not going to be able to do that. Okay. Hopefully I've covered this in way too much detail. And hopefully I've really given you guys a sense of this is a good build, but you know, because with any StarCraft 2 thing, you always have to be playing around with, you know, what else am I going to do? And one last thing I want to stress, so I've actually recap everything. So first thing first is I just do 3 gateways. Actually, I could have built more gateways once later on. Like you know, came a point where I really should have built 5 or 6, 3 more gateways or 2 more, because I was just getting so many minerals extra. But anyways, that aside, basically you go straight up to a stargate, and then you expand when you can, and then you build your robo bay, another stargate, constantly pump void rays out of 2 stargates, and then you start getting your colossi, stop at 6 colossi, constantly pumping void rays. And the other thing I want to stress is don't invest too much in gateway units. Get enough gateway units early on to help you live, help you survive, but the main focus should be a ton of void rays with a lot of colossi. And you know, like basically what I've got here is more than enough. We've got about, I don't know, what is that, 12 or 13? 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, 12 zealots and further gateway units. So as you can see, 16 gateway units, not that many. You really don't need that many, because it's the colossi are going to own ground units. You just need enough gateway units to distract the ground units while your colossi kill them, and the void rays will take care of everything else. They're very strong, especially against things like corruptors. They can actually fully charge, and at that point they're killing corruptors insanely fast. So yep, I think that's every point, other than of course don't let your Zerg fast expand to 6 expansions.
Mineral field depleted.
Things that they say.
Mineral field depleted.